David Archibald, the general manager of Al Nabuda International Vietnam, is part of a UAE-based investment group that has brought in multiple motorcycle brands into Vietnam. He has, for the last 10 years, experience navigating the complex market challenges and building high-performing teams for his import and retail business. Welcome to Thriving in the Age of Disruption podcast series, David. I'm excited that we can have this conversation together. You can start off by introducing yourself.
Sure. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Dr. Ramesh,
My
I'm
name is
really
David
happy to be here
Archibald, and
today. My name is David Archibald, and I have the pleasure of importing and retailing big motorcycles in Vietnam. I manage an investment for 14 shareholders from Dubai. And my background is both automotive and motorcycle sales for 40 years almost. Long time already. It's going by fast. And I also host a podcast called Unlock Potential with David Archibald. The real reason I do the podcast and everything, there's two. Number one is for legacy. Like, I want somewhere where my grandkids can see what I was doing and what I was talking about, which is something that I really crave from my own grandparents and things. And number two is I'm a leader, and in my company, I have almost 100 customer-facing staff. And part of their job now is to build their own personal brand and to do YouTube. And so I really felt, how can I tell them what to do without actually doing it myself? So I started the podcast. I started to figure out how long does it take me to edit this thing? What's it really take to make this good? What are the problems that I have? So then I can coach my team in the future. And
It's interesting because being a role model is always important. Lifelong learning is also important.
Yes.
And you're obviously a demonstration of that. And you're making sure that people see that you're walking the talk.
Correct. I've learned from other people, the things that I've gotten from observation of how things work and what works good and what doesn't work good. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I think I'm finally at the age where maybe I could say I have some wisdom in something.
That is true. So let me quickly take you into our podcast itself. It's about exploring two mindsets. One is the entrepreneurial mindset, number one. You're being resourceful. Typically, it means that you can define your problem, identify the right problem. And that's important because if you got the problem right, it's half solved. Number two, it's about managing uncertainty and taking risks. And the last bit is about creating value in a financial way as well as a non-financial way. And it's value for yourself as well as other stakeholders. My intention is that people can see that they can apply it in all areas of their life, both as a business person running a business or in a corporate setting or in an NGO setting. David, maybe you could share how you're using that mindset in your journey.
Yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur, technically, right? I'm running an investment for investors. When times are really good, man, I wish I owned this place. Man, I wish this was mine. And when times are bad, wow, I'm glad this is not my place, right? So you're torn a little bit, but I approach it the same way as if it was my investment, if it was mine. Part ego, part pride.
Ownership mindset.
Yes, it's a truly take responsibility of what's happening there. Okay, so at 10 years old, I got my first job. Man, I wanted a pair of Nikes and this BMX bike badly. And my mom said, hey, you better get a job then. And I'm, oh, Mom, well, what kind of job can I have? I'm just a kid. There was a lady at the door the next day.
Really?
Her name is Kathy Sheets. And Kathy and her partner, Rita McDowell, they were the paper route. They were in charge of the paper carriers. And in those days, the paper route was in the afternoon. So the papers would be dropped off on my driveway about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd get home from school. I'd deliver them. I'd rack my bike up with the 2 big sacks, and I had 103 customers, and I would deliver the newspaper. And then I did that until the newspaper then switched to morning delivery. And at that time, I had basketball practice started at 6 in the morning. And it's like, oh, okay, I want to play basketball. So then after that point, I had the transition and I still wanted a job. I always say that my mom was the meanest mom on the block. Okay. When somebody's hard on you, I think it's because they love you. And so she set that for me from the beginning. I need to get money to make something. I need to do it myself. I need to create value. So then I'm trying to figure out, okay, what job can I have evening time? Because then I moved from basketball started after school then at 3 to 5 o'clock. And so then I had to work from 5 to whenever. So I found a job at a butcher shop, cleaning up after the butchers worked. And so I would go there about 6 p.m. and I'd finish up at 11.
Wow.
And I did that for a few years. And then at that point, I started washing cars at 16. I've been in that same automotive / motorcycle business ever since then. So I think that's partly where I understand the entrepreneurial thing is from having to basically work and try to generate money myself so I could do the things I wanted to do.
I really like that journey that you shared with us from 10 years old.
Mhm.
And I can see that your mom probably had high expectations of you.
Mhm.
You were someone who stepped up
Mhm.
and took on that challenge.
Mhm.
And obviously, in the
Yeah.
different jobs that you did, developed your work ethics,
Mhm. Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And made who you are today,
Mhm.
very hardworking and working
Mhm.
smart,
Mhm.
right? But more importantly, I also like the distinction that you made between being an entrepreneur, running your own business, versus an intrapreneur, working for somebody.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the biggest fault of many entrepreneurs is that they fall in love with the idea of their business and often are unwilling to give up, even when they know it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
maybe
correct.
that
Well, yeah,
detachment,
I see that a lot in my industry with motorcycles. I would see the dealers were so passionate about the brand that
right?
they don't really see the business itself sometimes.
Right.
And so for me, I've never really been too passionate about brands. I'm more passionate about the process and how to do the job and how to create a good customer experience. And that's where I fuel myself in passion, not necessarily I'm in love with a specific brand or
This is a very interesting topic because everyone is excited about Vietnam, about its opportunity that's available for both entrepreneurial activities as well as other things. So, how did you get started?
I took over for a man that he got the family to invest to bring Harley Davidson to Vietnam.
Huh?
And then after just a short period of time, he left to go move back to Australia.
Right.
But how I got here is a story in itself.
Please.
It's probably not what you're expecting. I'm going to tell you that right now. So in 2014, I'm in US. I had been through a divorce and was at the point where I had thought about maybe trying to find someone new. I see this girl walk through the front door and she's got a CrossFit sweatshirt on. So I got up and talked to her. This is 2014. I think we exchanged email, not even texting at that point. Well, anyways, I started conversating with her back and forth. And then after a while, I started driving every weekend to Portland to hang out with her and then drive back to work on Monday. And so I did that for quite a while. And she was a incredibly fit Vietnamese American woman. Her dad was Air Force pilot for the South Vietnamese Army or Air Force. And when the fall of Saigon came, one of the U.S. Air Force guys is like, hey, you got 20 minutes, get your family in their bags because you're going to get on this boat right now. Everything's going good. She starts having back pain. Go to the doctor, and I pressure her to get a CT scan. She gets a CT scan, lung cancer, stage 4, all through her.
Oh.
That day I found out, I quit my job. I moved directly there to take care of her. And I married her a couple weeks later. We made plans to come to Vietnam because she hadn't been here since she was 2. She wanted to come back. And needless to say, she passed away.
Oh.
So I had kept my ticket, and she has 3 kids. I took care of them for a couple more months until the ex-husband got his stuff together. Then I was able to transfer the kids back to their dad. And then at that given time, I really had no purpose. I had not only lost my job. I lost my wife. I was pretty lost. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to Vietnam. I'll go do a trip there, and then I'll try to find a job. So I came to Vietnam, and I was just blown away. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been to Dominican Republic. I've been a little bit around, but not to Asia.
Right.
So I'm blown away with how cool everything is
Yeah.
and how different it is. And so when I'm traveling through, I saw the Mercedes-Benz dealership and I saw the Harley store. And so I'd either been in cars or motorcycles, a long time. And so when I came back from the trip, okay, it's time to get a job. And so I start looking and I call around and I could get the general manager's job at this Chevy store that was like 50 miles from my house. Man, I don't want to do that. And I said, what if I worked in Vietnam, man? I wonder if I could do that. So I emailed the Mercedes people and I emailed the Harley people. In 10 minutes before I emailed the Harley company, the manager resigned.
Wow.
So the door opens up for me. So then I thought, hey, I'll go there for 1 year. I'll try it for 1 year. I'll tell my grandkids someday, oh, I lived in Vietnam before. So that was my mindset. And then, of course, I got here, and in the fun and the challenging of working here kind of collided. And now I've been here almost 10 years.
Wow.
So that's how I ended up here.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. It's so amazing how you got here.
Mm-hmm.
And you've created an amazing life with your commitment to excellence as well as to make a difference. How did you expand the operations?
I was very fortunate enough to basically mimic this business model in US already. The desire for Vietnamese people to own these motorcycles is high. So it's a two-wheel culture. So it's not like you have to really build this demand. Now,
Right.
of course, with tariffs and stuff, these products are very expensive. So we deal with a very small number of people. One of the things I really noticed is when you're working with Americans all day, well, I came to Vietnam, I was expecting it to be a lot different.
Right.
I expected the man doesn't have to ask the wife to buy a motorcycle.
All right.
He still does. Okay. I started to realize that people are people, and there may be some culture on the surface, but how people are is the same. And I was able to really interject some of the events that we would have in US, and we were able to expand the business from 2 dealerships to 9 dealerships across Vietnam. The whole key is just to bring a really good experience to these people, enjoy our product.
Excellent. And so, if someone wanted to start a similar business with import and retail, let's say in another industry, what would you say do and don't do?
I would say the number one first thing is don't trust anything that's going to happen. You have to really be on top of it. Vietnamese people are incredibly kind and great to work with, but don't get lost and give up your 100% of your trust in anybody. Number 2 is you should probably get some type of peer group membership like we have with Business Executive Network, where you build a relationship with people that you can bounce things off of. Because there's a lot of cultural things that happen here that don't happen outside in other countries. For instance, maybe the 13th salary. Right? So for some companies that come in like, well, I've never heard of that. We shouldn't do that. Well, you find when you don't do it, it's going to be hard to recruit people because these are some of the things that are just common.
Did you mean the 13th month salary?
Yes, yes.
Oh, we have that in Singapore too.
Okay, good.
Yeah. It becomes the basic bonus.
That's something that most people have never heard of out of Asia.
And what about the people aspect? I mean, have you seen a change in your staff profile? And
in US, 90% of the staff were boys. They are passionate about motorcycling, but I found that here girls are highly capable. They're very good workers. I call them girls maybe because I'm old. I might be the oldest man in the company. But anyways, these young women, they're amazing workers, and I have them in not traditional roles like in service advisors, parts consultants, salespeople. So I really think that given the opportunity, girls really work really well here.
Great. And are they also a big part of your buyers? Or do you fundamentally sell to male buyers?
Oh, we're 99% male customers, I think. But I would say that maybe 25% of the time it's a guy that's gonna have his wife with him all the time or his
Right.
girlfriend with him all the time.
I want to talk about crisis ready mindset.
Mm,
And I feel that this is a very important mindset to have in today's VUCA world where you're constantly dealing with not just change, but rapid change, experiencing a setback or a failure or even a crisis. As I listened to your story earlier on, it's obvious that you have resilience. When you look at resilience, you're talking about coping mechanism, support structure. How do you develop that?
So I feel that as a salesperson, there's so many skills you need to really have, but
Right.
I think always a good listener is number one. But right after that is being resilient. You have to be able to deal with rejection, and you have to handle it over and over again. And I think that part of my resiliency and what I try to teach in not only my young son, but in my sales teams or other staff is you have to take a moment to reflect on what happened and then make adjustment. If you ask me, where did this start? I'll tell you where it started. All right. It started in 1984 at the Skate King roller rink. Hip hop started, everyone's going to the roller thing, and we'd have these all city dances.
Yeah.
So you and three guys go together. This is way before social media and everything. You'd have neighboring high schools and you wouldn't know these people. And so, if you wanted to dance, you had to walk up to a girl and say, "Hey, my name is David. Is it okay if I dance with you?" And she'd be like, "No." Okay. Well, there was always two type of people. All right. So in your group of friends, there would be no. Oh, they just go kind of sit against the wall and just wait for it to be done.
Yes.
And then there's the other type of guy that would be like, "Oh, okay, no problem." And he'd be like, "Okay, how about you? Do you want to dance with me?" And then, so being able to handle rejection, absorb it. Okay, this is what happened. Great. What did I do wrong? Was my breath bad? Did I say something wrong? What kind of adjustments can I make? And then from that, you make your changes. And then you don't quit. You don't give up. And sure enough, third time around, you're dancing and okay, you fixed your bad breath and you said different words and now you're out there dancing. So I think that's part of it is being able to reflect on why it happened. Why did you get rejected? What happened? What did you do wrong? And then when you follow a process with it and you look at it and say, "Hey, I know I got to fail like 5 or 6 times. And let's figure out, let's get through these failures." And so being able to fail, reflect, adjust, try it again. And you fail and you reflect and you adjust. And I think that's really the basis of building resilience. As a salesperson, you start to feel this rejection all the time. And my dad would always tell me, it's like water on a duck's back. It just never sticks. It just rolls right off, right? And so I always had that metaphor in my head that when I got rejection, it just rolled off my back and I moved on to the next and figured out what I did wrong.
That's really powerful. You've taken a really difficult topic that people confront often in organizations, which is sales. How do you meet your targets? And to meet your targets, you're going to get lots of no's before you get the yeses. But that training of dealing with rejection in sales has become like, I can deal with life.
Yeah, that's right.
And that analogy of the water off a duck's back, it's really great. So you engaged in self-talk, positive self-talk, to validate the actions that you wanted.
I always say I hit the lotto with my parents. My mom and dad, they self-talked us well. I mean, we were disciplined. We were in trouble. We got spankings. It was not like happy all the time. There was some, but at the end of the day, they allowed us to see that, hey, we can do things. I have 4 brothers. There's 5 of us total. Every single one of them is successful. So we learn to deal with rejections and have that positive mindset. How you speak to your children becomes their inner voice when they get older. And so I really do my best to think about that with my own little boy right now. You have to balance it a little bit because if you just, "Oh, you're the greatest, you're the best," you're not going to have somebody that grows up to be able to handle things because they're going to get hit in the face right from the get-go. It's more about, "I like your effort here. Try this instead. Do this a little differently."
Yeah, giving them the challenge and also the space to fail. What's spirituality to you?
Mhm.
Where are you in the journey?
Spirituality to me is two parts. One part is believing in a higher power. I believe in God. I'm a
Mm.
Christian, and I would say that relationship is between me and God. I'm not really into religion. I've always kind of been skeptical of the pastor. I think a lot of times they get power and they kind of get greedy. For me, I think that practicing gratitude is probably the most important aspect of it. And I do that on a daily basis. Obviously, I thank God I can walk and talk. And with my son, I put him to sleep. And when we lay down there, I reflect on what happened that day. I say, "Hey, we're going to pray and be thankful for your ability to ride the bicycle, and thank you so much for mom for making the your food today." And so I try to really practice gratitude through that. In a nutshell, spirituality is understanding that, hey, I'm here for a reason. And so I practice gratitude in the fact of I'm very thankful that I have that responsibility and I have that ability to do that.
That's right. And the opportunity too with the kind of people that you meet
Mm-hmm.
and you can
Mm-hmm.
influence.
Mm-hmm.
The next topic, somewhat related to this, is living a simple life.
Okay.
Now, do you think it's possible? And what's a simple life for you?
I think that first off, your mindset. I've kind of lived two chapters in my life. I lived in USA. I had a super big fancy house and cars and junk that I thought was supposed to be happy and make me happy in my life. And in 2006, I was able to go to Rome. And I'm at the Pantheon area plaza. I'm looking back away from the Pantheon to the houses that are in this plaza. I was just thinking, man, how many people have moved in and out of that house since the 1600s? Okay. How really short period of time we're on this planet. We're very here for just such a brief moment, really. At that point, I started realizing that it's more about the stuff you do and not the stuff you have. And so being able to really change my mindset on that and saying, what can we do and who can we help and is more important than what can I have? So I think that's part of it. A simple life is really knowing your purpose. Okay, so not be too complex with it. I think that the way any media is sold now is to you in almost always in fear.
Right.
And because fear gets attention and our brains are designed to capture and look for fear. And so I think if you sit there and you look at the news and you look at these things that these psychiatrists and psychologists are actually helping these media companies
Yeah.
figure out how to make people be scared, that leads to not a simple life.
That's right. If you looked at thriving and flourishing,
Yes.
what would be three words that you use to describe it?
Thriving for me is success. It's being successful. The first one is their thinking and how they approach problems. I think that people that really thrive and are successful, they look at solutions and they put their energy in the solutions rather than the problems. Your feelings don't control what you do. Your habits control what you do. And the most successful people I've seen are the people that do it whether they feel like it or not. And the last one is action. So you have to make things happen. So the action, letting your habits control your feelings and how you think about problems.
Wow, incredible. But that's really powerful. What do you think about sustainability?
On a corporate setting, my investors have a sustainability project and they have targets and goals, and I'm in that to do my best to be that part. But in general, I think sustainability is building something that is
Right.
and without burning up the environment. Because I read to my son every night, and one of the books is the Lorax that we read, and it's the guy's cutting down all the trees to make these needs and eventually cuts down the forest until there's nothing there and the birds are gone and the bears are gone and the fish are dying. And I think that that's written in the 50s or 60s, but it really makes sense. But in general, I think that you should do your best not to burn out people and don't burn up the planet.
That's right. So let's ask some fun questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book of all time is probably How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which my dad gave me at about age 12. And I remember I opened the first page and I thought, what is this book going to do for me? It's probably the best book.
Excellent.
Mhm.
And your favorite travel destination?
Oh, anywhere that's new, to explore and to see something that's new. So the next opportunity to go experience something.
If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Mm. Who your life partner is pretty important. My wife now, who is truly my teammate there with me and has my best, I want to have dinner with her.
Well, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? You already have quite a lot.
I would help people that can't help themselves. That's partly what motorcycle culture is about in America, and is about being able to gather your friends that have motorcycles and go support a charity or something to help people that
Oh,
can't help themselves. So whatever power that would be is what I would want, to be able to empower orphans to be able to have a good life, to be able to succeed without having a mom and dad there. So
right.
whatever the healing touch of
Yeah.
that would be my superpower, so I could help
Wow.
others. Yeah.
And the worst advice?
Oh man, I don't know. Uh Worst advice. If you only focus on what you have going on, you're just missing out. It's just not about us. It's really about other people.
Well, we've come to the end of the program, and it's been exciting having this conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh, for having me. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited about what you're doing and
Yes.
to help show how you can thrive. I think it's really important what you're doing. So
Great.
thank you very much.